Very respected speaker of this evening, CS Divyesh Goyal from Delhi, CA Panaraj, Secretary of SARC from Bellary, participants of this evening program. Very good evening to all of you. It is most pleasing to be with you all once again through this virtual mode for yet another informative program. It is on a contemporary topic of professional interest, and especially during these times, all of us to join together to perform our obligations when the humanity needs our support, and that is an CSR. With this, I take great pleasure and a privilege to extend our hearty welcome to the speaker of the day, CS Divyesh Goyal from New Delhi, who has kindly considered address about corporate social responsibility, the provisions enumerated in the Companies Act, and the recent developments in connected thereto. I also offer my warm welcome to all the participants of this program. Thank you so much for your overwhelming response for this particular program. As you are aware, in the past, there were many ways that an individual, group of individuals, and organizations offered support to the society in various forms from their generation of funds. Later on, the concept was given a statutory recognition, and the Ministry of Corporate Affairs prescribed mandatory provision for companies to fulfill their CSR. One of the objectives of CSR, besides serving the society, is to increase the reputation of the brand image of corporate and NPOs concerned. Today we are in for an enlightening session to know more about the applicability of CSR provisions, constitution of CSR committee in the boards, the functions, the responsibility, and the issues connected therein. We have with us Speaker of Eminence, CS Divyesh Goyal, who will analyze various provisions governing CSR, the requirements contemplated under the Companies Act 2013, and the recent amendments for the effective implementation and its governance. Every corporate organizations are required to comply, and these aspects will be explained to us by the speaker in depth to enhance our understanding of CSR, especially under the present outbreak of COVID-19. I once again welcome the speaker and the participants for a session to ignite our thoughts and perception on CSR. With this, I request Secretary of SARC to introduce the speaker of this evening.
Thank you, Chairman, for setting the tone for this special program. The social responsibility gains a lot of importance in these pandemic times. So also corporate social responsibility. Under these circumstances, overwhelming response with the members for the speaker as well as the topic. So kudos to both of you. I take the pleasure of introducing Mr. Divyesh Goyal, a company secretary. He is a BCom graduate and a company secretary, fellow member of the Institute of ICSI, and having expertise in corporate law for last 8 years. He is young and progressive practitioner in the company secretaryship with zeal to have in-depth knowledge on corporate laws and also a very keen researcher. And he has penned various articles on the Companies Act 2013 to keep at pace with the latest changes and critically dissect the implications of various provisions of the new act. He has co-authored the Company Law Premier book published by the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He has also added a lot to the issuance of various guidance notes by ICSI. He was a member of the Task Force Committee and Research Committee for 3 years. He is a member of various committees of the NIRC of the ICSI. His articles have been published in ICSI magazines and are available on various popular websites relating to corporate law. He has deliberated at various forums on corporate law throughout the country. Over the last 2 years, he has deliberated for more than 150 seminars and penned approximately 700 articles on multiple topics of corporate law. Very proud to have you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Present you before the audience.
Thank you so much, sir. First of all, I would like to thanks to the chairman, sir, and you for giving me an opportunity to discuss about the provision of the CSR and the other amendments with the members of the SIRC of the Chartered Accountant. As I can see, there are the more than 900 attendees are present here. So definitely as a speaker, it is a good thing, and it is definitely a motivating thing for me also. Even just before the webinar, that's why I was discussing with the chairman, sir, as many as there will be the questions and the attendees, that is always a motivation for the speaker. So it's my heartily thanks to SIRC, ICA and the chairman, sir, for inviting me for this topic and giving me an opportunity to discuss on the provisions of the Companies Act with our members. As we know, due to this pandemic situation, since last 1 year, we all are facing this pandemic situation. But I must say, you all guys are doing a great job by organizing these webinars, because even in this pandemic situation, when as a professional we are not able to work, not able to go our office, but at least through this webinar we can brush up our knowledge, we can come to know about the latest amendments. So sir, heartily thanks for this thing, and congratulations for the great number of participants in this webinar. So as the responsibility is given to me for today to discussion on the CSR topic, that is corporate social responsibility and the recent amendment under Companies Act. So first I will start not with the CSR. First I will take a 15 to 20 minute maximum on the latest relaxation given by the ministry, because we know due to this pandemic, it is not possible, due to this lockdown, it is not possible for the corporates to open their office, as well as it is not possible for the professional also to go visit the office and to do the work. So in this situation, definitely it is not possible for anyone to complete the filings within the given due dates. So as you know, already the income tax and GST have extended the due dates for the many topics. Same like that, Ministry of Corporate Affairs has also extended some dates for the purpose of the compliances. Last year, definitely ministry came up with the CFSS scheme, Company Law Fresh Settlement Scheme, and that was the really a great thing given by the ministry to us. But this year, ministry have not came up with such CFSS scheme, but still they came up with some relaxation to the corporates in the pandemic period. So as I can see, there are almost 1,000 chartered accountants are participating in this webinar. I would to request one thing from all the participants, ki whatever queries are there in your mind, whatever queries are there, please feel free to ask all your queries throughout the webinar, because as you will ask the queries, that will help to resolve the doubt of the other person also, along with you. So please feel free to ask your queries. Whatever queries are there, you can ask anytime during this webinar. You can mention in the chat box, you can mention in the question box. And not only this, even it may be happen that I am asking some question throughout the webinar, because as we know this is webinar, but we should make it little interactive, so that purpose there should be some question answers. So if I ask some question, I would request everyone to please answer those questions also through the chat box, so that I can say yes, all the participants are indulged with me through this webinar. So let me just share my screen to discuss the relaxation under Companies Act. So Ministry of Corporate Affairs on 3rd May 2021 has given some relaxation to the corporates. 3rd May 2021, they have issued some circulars to given the relaxation to the corporates. So these relaxation are relating to the practically two topics. One is relating to the form filing. Definitely we know in last 7 years when Companies Act 2013 came into effect, Ministry have increased the additional fees in a multiple manner. Even they have increased the penalty on the late filing of the form. And due to this pandemic, when we are not able to file our form in the due day, at that time it is very important to understand what are the new due dates, what are the relaxation given by the ministry. So you all are the chartered accountant, you all are indulged with many companies, you are working for the many companies. So definitely it is very important for all of you also to understand the relaxation, so that you can guide your staff, you can guide your corporate client, you can guide to your professional colleagues also. So the first relaxation, as you can see on my screen, maximum gap between two board meetings. The first circular, the first relaxation given by the ministry is relating to the maximum gap between two board meetings. As we know, as per section 173, as per section 173 of the Companies Act, section 173 is very clear on this page that companies is required to hold at least 4 board meetings during a financial year. So it is mandatory for the company to hold at least 4 board meetings during a calendar year. And they have specifically mentioned maximum gap between 2 board meetings. Maximum gap between 2 board meetings can be 120 days. So ministry is very clear about that, how much can be the maximum gap by their provision and all. Now the question arises, when the maximum gap between 2 board meetings is 120 days, if our 120 days is falling in the month of May, then how we can do the filing under Companies Act? Because the issues arise how we can do the hold the board meeting, because how we can do the board meeting when it is a pandemic, every day is a lockdown. There's a 2 options: one to hold a physical meeting, second to hold a meeting through video conferencing. But practically it is not possible for everyone to hold the meeting through the video conferencing. So for that purpose, ministry have given some relaxation. They have given relaxation in a manner that if 120 days, as I said, maximum gap between 2 board meetings can be 120 days. They mentioned if your 120 days is going to expire between 1st April 2021 to 30th September 2021, if your 120 days is expiring between this period, you can hold board meeting within 180 days instead of 120 days. So they have given 60 days additional time for holding the board meeting. Same this type of relaxation ministry have given last year also. So this year also they came with this amendment. So according to this amendment, I'm just taking 2 or 3 examples. If you have any query, you can ask in the question. The query is that if in the last board meeting held on 1st December, then 120 days is expired on 30th March. 30th March is not falling between our period, that is 1st April to 30th September. So if your 120 days is expired before 1st April, then you will not get any benefit. So in the given example, last board meeting held on the 1st December, 120 days is going to expire on 30th March. So there is no relaxation given to the company. But if I will say last board meeting held on the 15th December, 120 days is expired on the 13th April. 13th April is falling between our relaxation period, because ministry have given relaxation for the 2 quarters, April to June, July to September. So if 13th April is falling between our period, so in that case, if we are not able to hold board meetings in 13th April, we can add 60 more days and we can hold till 12th June. So this is the first relaxation by the ministry, that gap between 2 board meetings can be 180 days instead of 120 days. But one thing as a professional we have to keep in mind, this relaxation is only for 2 quarters, April to June and July to September. Except that, no, we will not get any relaxation. Now the second thing, someone has a, I am having my WhatsApp group in the name of Gyan Gurukul, and almost 47 groups are there, and more than 3,000 professionals joined those groups. So on the regular basis, I am receiving the queries from the professional. One query is there, if whether this relaxation will be count for the meeting held before March, like I have given the example for the meeting held in December, and 120 days is expired in 14th April, whether we will get the relaxation, the answer will be yes. Because we just have to remember one small Guru mantra, that mantra is that if your 120 days is going to expire between 1st April 2021 to 30th September 2021, you will get relaxation under this clause by 60 days. So for this period, you can hold the board meeting with a gap of maximum gap of 180 days instead of 120 days. Hope I'm clear with my first relaxation. Any query, please feel free to ask, because your one query can clear the doubt of many persons. And further, this presentation I have already shared with the SIRCICI, so they can share this presentation after the webinar with all of you. So please don't bother to write the things, just write the main points which we are discussing. Second relaxation is additional fees or filing of form. Additional fees in filing of form. So additional fees like this. We know that every form under companies having different due dates. For those different due dates, many dates are there which are falling in the month of April and May. But due to this pandemic situation, if we are not able to file those forms, so Ministry came up with a relaxation for that. They mentioned, as per the circular, if the due date of any form except CHG 4, CHG 1 and CHG 9, they have specifically kept 3 forms out of the preview: CHG 1, CHG 4 and CHG 9. If the due date is falling between 1st April to 30th May, then those forms can be filed without any additional fees till 31st July. If due date is falling between 1st April to 31st May, read it as a 31st May, then those forms can be filed till 31st July. Now the question arises whether all the forms in this period can be filed or some specific form. Means all the form during this period can be filed or some specific form only can be filed. So as per this circular language, as you can see on the screen, it is very clear that if due date is between 1st April 2021 to 31st May 2021, then your due date will be 31st July. This is very clear. Except these 3 forms, CHG 1, CHG 4 and CHG 9. Like MSME 1, the due date for the MSME 1 was 30th April. 30th April is falling between this period, that is 1st April to 31st May. So for that, in that case, this form could be filed till 31st July without any additional fees. There may be many other forms like this which are falling during this period, which can be filed till 31st July. But the only one thing, major thing we have to keep in mind, due date of the form should fall between 1st April 2021 to 30th May. If due date is not falling between this period, then you will not get any benefit. But yes, if due date will fall under this period, you will get the benefit under Companies Act for the filing of the form. Guys, please mention your query regarding this point. Now, if we from this point, it is very clear that except these 3 forms, every form is covered here. But recently, Ministry has done one thing. What they have done today only, Ministry have issued one list. In that list, they have mentioned about some forms which will be covered under this scheme. As per the language of the circular, they was very clear that except 3 forms, CHG 1, CHG 4 and CHG 9, except these 3 forms, every form will be part of this scheme, part of this circular. But today suddenly Ministry have issued a list and they said that only the form mentioned under this list can get the benefit under Companies Act, under this circular. But this thing doesn't seem relevant because as per Companies Act, we know if circular is very clear that except these 3 forms, every form will be part of this scheme, then how Ministry can say that some form, only these some form will be part of the scheme? But Ministry have done the same. They said that only these mentioned form will be part of the scheme. As we know, definitely many representation will be made to the Ministry that they also when already mentioned accept these three form, no form, all the form are part of this scheme, then how they came with the circular. But definitely as they have already came with the circular, according to the circular, they are covering only some forms under this scheme. They are covering only 10 forms under the scheme according to the circular. Now the question arises, which are the 10 forms which ministry is covering under this circular? Because language of circular is very clear. Circular is very clearly saying that all the form which having due date between 1st April 2021 to 31st May 2021 will be part of this scheme. Then how they can say that some form are not part of this scheme? But as we know, sometime ministry came with such type of things. So today they came with the list of the form in which they have mentioned ADT 1. If ADT 1 having due date between 1st April 2021 to 31st May 2021, you can file such ADT 1 till 31st July. Then he mentioned INC 22, that is for change of registered office. Then they mentioned NDH 3. NDH 3 is the annual return of the Nidhi company. Then they mentioned FC4. FC4 is for the annual return of the foreign company, that is branch office, project office, license office. Then they mentioned MSC3, that is the annual return of the dormant companies. Then they mentioned INC 27, NTH2, IFS 3. So they have mentioned only these three forms. They said that only these three form, only these 10 form will part of this circular. However, this is not digesting thing. It is not digestible with everyone. Only these 10 form will part of this scheme, because if pandemic is there for the every form. It is not limited to only to this 10 type of form. So today ministry have issued the list of the form which will be covered under this circular, but no one is accepting this circular. Definitely many representation will be filed with the ministry from the different institute. Even I would request to the SIRC also, you should also prepare a representation and should submit with the ministry that they cannot include only these 10 form. They should include all the form which are falling between 1st April to 31st May for the purpose of benefit to our members. So as per the circular, except these three forms, CHG1, CHG4 and CHG9, all form are the part of this circular. For example, as per the language of circular, if you have passed a special resolution on 15th March, special resolution, in that case of special resolution, MGT 14 is required to file within 30 days. So due date of filing of MGT 14 will be 14th April. 14th April is falling between our period, that is 1st April to 31st May. So this, as per this circular, that form should get benefit to file till 31st May. But today, whatever list they have issued, according to it is not covered. So I would request to everyone, if you have any form which are pending for filing, please don't file right now. Just wait for 3 or 4 days so that ministry came up with some relaxation again, or they can clarify the relaxation. Third relaxation they have given, that is relating to the filing of the charge related form. First, I want to clear one thing in relating to the charge. As we know, under Companies Act 2013, if you want to create any charge or if you want to modify any charge, maximum 100, you are having maximum 120 days for creation of modification of charge. So you have maximum 120 days time for creation of modification of charge. Sometimes people ask to me, if 120 days has been passed, in that case, what are the recourses with us? Agar 120 days has already been passed, in that case, what are the recourse we are having? In that case, I would like to say, if 120 days has been passed and you have not filed your charge creation and modification form, then practically you don't have any option under Companies Act to file form for the creation and modification of charge. You are having maximum 120 days for filing of this form. After that, there is no option. Even the ROC, even the RD, even the NCLT don't have any option which can allow you to file the form even after 120 days. So make sure whenever you're filing and creating or modifying any charge, maximum period is 120 days. So ministry have given the relaxation for filing of CHG 1 and 9 by keeping in mind this provision. So according to them, if your 120 days is expired before 1st April, in that case, you will not get benefit under this circular. Let me repeat, because this circular is, the language of this circular is very, we can say, language of this circular is little difficult. according to the circular, if 120 days from the creation or modification of charge is not expired, is expired before 1st April 2021, then you will not get any benefit under this circular. So only the charge creation or modification form whose 120 days is not expired on the 1st April, only that form will get the benefit under this circular. Now I just give you a formula. If your charge creation or modification date is before 2nd December 2020, then you will not get benefit under this circular. I'm telling this line, I'm telling these words from my analysis, from my interpretation, from my research, that if date of your creation or modification of charge is before 2nd December 2020, then you will not get benefit under this circular. But if your charge creation or modification date is on or after 2nd December 2020, you will definitely get benefit under this circular. This is the first thing. Now, what are the benefits? So Ministry said the period from 1st April to 31st May will not count for the 120 days. For an example, I have created a charge on 10th March. Till 31st March, only 21 days has passed. So the period from 1st April to 31st May will not count. So if 31st March was my 21st day, then 1st June will be my 22nd day, because the period from 1st April to 31st May will not count for the purpose of the 120 days. So definitely it is a big relaxation. Now you can guide to your client, now you can guide to your colleagues that if charge is created on or after 2nd December 2020, then you are having time to file this form under this circular, because the period relating to the 1st April 2021 to 31st May 2021 will not count for the purpose of the calculation of 120 days. And whatever fees, whether normal fees, whether additional fees, or whether ad valorem fees, you have to pay on the 31st March. Same fees you have to pay in the month of April, May, or till 1st June. The same fees you have to pay till 1st June. Now let me just give me 5 minutes. I'm covering some FAQs relating to this relaxation. So after that, if you have any query in your mind, you can mention in the chat box. I will take up it later on. As you can see my screen. If charge is created or modified on or before 2nd December 2020, company fails to file such form, whether such form can take benefit of this circular. So as I have specifically mentioned, if charge is created or modified before 2nd December, company will not get benefit under this circular. One more thing, if charge is created between 1st April to 31st May, in that case, the period relating to 31st May will not count. The first day to calculate 120 days will start from the 1st June. Definitely this is a big relaxation by ministry, that if your charge is created or modified between 1st April to 31st May, then the period 1st April to 31st May will not count. Your first day will be count as a 1st June. Second question, if company files CRG 1 and CRG 9 during the 1st April 2021 to 33rd May 2021, 3rd May the date on which circular has passed, with additional fees as well as ad valorem fees, whether such company can file form for refund of fees. Ministry has specifically mentioned, if you have filed your form before issue of this circular, you will not get benefit under this circular, you will not get any refund. Now you can see, if charge is created on the 14th February, then what shall be the date of filing? In the normal course, if charge is created on the 14th Feb, 30 days 16th March, normal fees. 60 days 15th April, normal plus additional fees. 120 days 14th June, normal fees, additional fees, and ad valorem fees. And maximum we have 120 days for filing of this form. But as per the circular, 16th March 30 days normal fees. Now next 30 days, 15th April se pehle, before 15th April we have a circular. So we will calculate till 31st March. Till 31st March my 45 days has been crossed. So we have to pay normal fees plus additional fees. Period till 31st May will not count. So it will be considered as a 45 days as a normal fees and additional fees. And 1st June will be considered as the 46th day because 31st March was the 45th day. So till 15 June normal and additional fees, 120 days is 14th August normal additional पर set बोल रहा. Only one thing you have to keep in mind, to calculate 120 days for filing of CSG 1 and CSG 9, period from the 1st April 2021 to 30th May will not be count. This is the main provision. This is the main funda of this provision. So hope I am clear with the relaxation given under Companies Act to all of you. Please mention your query in the question box if you are having any query. We will compile all the queries and we will take up all your queries at the end of the session. So please feel free to ask the queries because SIRC has given you an opportunity through this webinar to ask all of your doubt. Whatever doubt you have in your mind, you can ask today in this webinar. We are here to resolve all of your doubt. Even last half hour of this webinar, we will spend to take up the queries from all of you. So let me start with our today's topic, that is relating to the CSR, corporate social responsibility. Hope my screen is visible to everyone. So now we are going to discuss about the CSR, corporate social responsibility provision. Corporate social responsibility. These are very important provision under Companies Act. One thing I would like to tell about this provision, as you can see on my screen, I have highlighted this thing. As I have mentioned, recently Ministry have made the amendment by Companies Corporate Social Responsibility Policy Rule 2021. These amendment Ministry have done on 22nd January 2021. The major crux of this amendment, which I just want everyone should aware, CSR spending made mandatory from voluntary with effect from financial year 2021. This is the most important point, that is CSR became mandatory for the companies. It became mandatory for the companies to spend on the CSR. Earlier, this was just a voluntary provision. So we all have to keep in mind the provision of the CSR now, because now it is mandatory. CSR is mandatory for everyone. Now let me just discuss this with the sharing of this screen. Before going to discuss the amendment, first we should aware about the provision of the CSR. As you can see on the screen, section 135. The most important provision is 135 subsection 1. Because according through 135 only, we will come to know whether CSR is applicable on our company or not. As I can see, more than 1,000 professionals are attending this webinar. So I can say one thing to all of you. You all must are handling lot of companies. So if 1,000 professionals are here, means they are handling more than 10,000 companies. They are handling more than 1 lakh companies. So first thing you should analyze, because you are the chartered accountant, you are the statutory auditor, and most important thing as of now, I will like to say, Ministry have under Companies Act, Ministry have increased the responsibility of the chartered accountant in the manifold. They have increased the responsibility because you can see the Caro report. Caro report for the financial year ended 31st March 2022. Lot of new disclosures are there. They have amended the Schedule 3. They have amended the disclosure in the director report, auditor report. So everywhere Ministry are imposing more and more responsibility on the chartered accountant. So it is very important for all of you to analyze this provision, to understand this provision, because Ministry is very much careful about this provision. If any company make any default under this provision, Ministry is not taking it lightly. They are taking it as a major non-compliance under Companies Act. So it's request from all the participants, please focus on today's webinar, because it is not important for the companies only, it is important for you, because you guys are doing the statutory audit, you guys are doing the internal audit, you guys are certifying the lot of forms also under Companies Act. So you must be aware about this provision. First, we should understand on which company CSR is applicable. As per section 135 subsection 1, every company having a net worth of rupees 5 crore rupees or more, turnover of rupees 1000 crore rupees or more, net profit of rupees 505 crore rupees or more in the immediate preceding financial year, the provision of the CSR will applicable. There are the three situations. If any one of the condition you fulfill, the provision of the CSR will applicable on you. It is nowhere mentioned you have to fulfill all the condition. If you fulfill even a single condition, the provision of the CSR will applicable to you. So now what are the condition? If you are having net worth more than 500 crore, if you are having turnover 1000 crore or more, if you are having net profit of 5 crore or more, if any situation is gross, CSR will applicable on you. Or as on date, you know, this is the time of the corporate world. It is not a big task for a companies to earn 5 crore rupees profit or 1000 crore turnover. So almost many companies are falling under the preview of the CSR. So first thing you all have to check about the net worth, turnover and net profit of your clients, your companies for the immediate preceding financial year. If company is falling under this provision in the immediate preceding financial year, the provision of the CSR will applicable to them. In the April 2014, when the Companies Act 2013 came into effect, at that time we have to check the limit of the preceding 3 financial year. But as on date, we have to check limit of the immediate preceding financial year. If, for an example, if on 31st March 2021 you are falling under any of these limit, then CSR will applicable for the 2021-22 on your companies. As I have mentioned here, CSR spending made mandatory from voluntary with effect from financial year 2020-21. Financial year 2021 has already been closed on 31st March, and for that provision it became voluntary, mandatory. Now you must having a question in mind why I'm saying CSR provision earlier was voluntary and now it became mandatory. The reason behind saying CSR provision earlier was voluntary, because earlier there was a provision under Companies Act. Earlier there was a provision under Companies Act that if CSR is applicable on you and you don't spend on the CSR in the financial year, there is not an issue. If you're not spent, no issue. You just have to give a disclosure in director report with the reason why you have not spent on the CSR. So you can see before this amendment, if your CSR is not applicable on CSR is applicable on you, it was not mandatory for you to spend. You just have to give a disclosure in the director report with the reason why you have not spent. That's the enough compliance under Companies Act. So mostly corporate are doing this only. They are not spending throughout the year. At the end of the year, they are giving a proper disclosure in the director report along with any such reason. But now, on 22nd January 2021, Ministry have made the amendment under the provision of the CSR, and they mentioned now it is mandatory to spend on the CSR. Now you cannot give any hanky-panky reasons why you have not spent on the CSR. Now it is mandatory to spend on the CSR. So the relevance of this provision has been increased with effect from 22nd January 2021. From 22nd January 2021, the relevance of this provision is increased in manifold, because now it became mandatory for companies to comply with the provision of the CSR. If it is applicable on you, you have to spend the amount. You don't have any choice that you have not spent the amount and you mentioned in your director report, then why you are not spending. I have some questions regarding. One question asked by the professional through my WhatsApp group, Gyan group. If CSR once applicable, always applicable on a company, is that a right statement? Can anyone give answer in the chat box? If CSR is once applicable, it is applicable throughout the life of the company. Is it a right statement? As I can say, 1100 professionals are attending this webinar. So some of can mention the answer in the chat box just in a yes or no. If CSR once applicable, whether it is applicable or a company for always, is it a right statement? As someone mentioned no. Some other person has mentioned a no. No, it is not a right statement. I'm completely agree with all of you. This is not a right statement. The CSR is the once applicable. It is applicable on the companies for always. But some has mentioned yes, some has mentioned no, it is applicable. So I'm just giving an answer. If CSR is once applicable, it is applicable always on the company. It is not a right statement, because for the applicability of CSR, we have to check the limit of immediate preceding financial year. We don't have to check the limit of preceding 3 financial year. We have to check the limit of just immediate preceding financial year after the amendment under Companies Act. Now the next question. CSR became applicable on company for the from financial year 2021 and 2% average net profit is negative. So can we consider, I'm taking this question later on. If a company having losses on financial year ended 31st March 2020, whether such company are required to continue the compliance of the CSR? There are 3 things. First, as I have already mentioned, as per section 135 subsection 1, to check the applicability of the CSR, you have to check the limit of the immediate preceding financial year. But there are the 3 things. If CSR is applicable on you, first you have to create a CSR committee. Second, you have to create a CSR policy. Third, you have to do the spending. Now there is some contradiction under law. As per section 135 subsection 1, read with section 135 subsection 5. Subsection 5 is mentioned. If you are falling under subsection 1, then you have to spend on the CSR. And subsection 1 is saying, if you falling under limit as per immediate preceding financial year, then you have to fall. So I can say, if as on 31st March 2020, my net profit was more than 5 crore, so definitely I have to spend in 2020-21. As on 31st March 2021, my net profit are less than the limit, so I don't have to spend in 2021-22. So now we can say every year we have to check the limit to check the spending requirement of the company. Now it is nothing like that we have to check the limit for previous 3 years. No, you don't have to check the limit for the previous 3 years. You just have to check the limit of the just previous year to check whether you have to spend or not. Now let me discuss about other 2 compliances, that is CSR committee and CSR policy. Now law said for the CSR committee and CSR policy provision, as per rule 5 sub rule 2, you have to check limits of immediate preceding 3 financial year. So please be clear today about one thing. If for the purpose of the spending on the CSR, you have to check limit of the immediate preceding financial year, but for the purpose of the CSR committee compliance and for the purpose of the CSR policy compliance, you have to check the limit of immediate preceding 3 financial year. Please ask your queries in the chat question box, whatever queries you are having in this regard. We will compile all the queries and we will take up this at the end of the presentation, end of the webinar. And even I will take up last half an hour as for the purpose of the question answer only. So today we have to be clear one thing, because a lot of professionals are confused under this thing. I have receiving the question from the professionals throughout the country. The question is that once the CSR is the question is that for the purpose of spending, whether we have to check provision for last 3 years or whether we have to check provision for just previous year. So I would like to clarify, for the purpose of to check the spending, please check the provision of immediate preceding financial year. But for the purpose of checking not only spending but for the CSR committee compliance and CSR policy compliance, you have to check the provision of immediate preceding 3 financial year. So please be clear today after this webinar on this provision. So now let's discuss the amendment. Earlier, just till now, I was just discussing the provision of the CSR, because before discussing any amendment, we should be clear about the provisions. So first thing, the CSR amendment rules came on to effect from the 22nd January, and the best thing, ministry implemented the same with effect from 22nd January itself. So on the 22nd January, these rules came into effect and ministry made them mandatory for the companies with effect from the 22nd January only. That's why I'm saying these amendments are applicable for the financial year 2020-21. The financial year which just ended on the 31st March, on that financial year, these provisions are applicable. So this year, when you guys are doing the statutory audit, internal audit, make sure if CSR is applicable in your company have done the compliances as per the amended rule, not per the old, not per the old rules. So as you can see the table here, rule 4 fully substituted. Rule 4 fully substituted. Rule 5 to substitute. Rule 6 omitted. Rule 7, Rule 8, Rule 9 fully substituted, and Rule 10 is newly inserted. Out of 10 rules, 7 rules are completely changed. So we can say 80% of the provision of the CSR has been amended. 80% of the provision of the CSR has already been amended under corporate law. So it is very important for the point of view of the chartered accountant. Today's our webinar, we are discussing everything from the point of view of the chartered accountant, so that they all can get the benefit. It can help you in your audit purpose also. So that is the, let's start one by one provision. First provision is about introduction of the definition of the CSR. Till now under Companies Act, there was no definition of the CSR under Companies Act. But now Ministry have introduced the definition of the CSR. They mentioned CSR, they have given the, we can say, exclusive definition. According to them, following shall not be included in the CSR. Any activity in the normal course of business. If company is doing any activity as a normal course, that activity shall not consider as the CSR activity. However, Ministry have given one relaxation. If companies engage in the research or development activity of new vaccine, drugs, or medical device relating to the COVID-19, and this is your normal course of business, still you will get benefit till 3 years, 2021, 21-22, and 22-23. So practically, if it is your normal course of business, for an example, you are a medical company and you are doing research on some medicines. So this is your normal course of business. You are not doing something special for the society. So it will not consider as your CSR activity. Activity outside India. As we know, the purpose of the provision of the CSR is that you have to do something for your society. So that's why Ministry mentioned CSR activity you can do only in India. You cannot do outside India. If you are doing anything charitable outside India, that will not be considered as a CSR activity, except for the training of the Indian sport personnel representing by any state, union territory at the national level or international level. If you are sponsoring any sports person who is representing state level, union territory level, national level, international level, then it will be allowed. Otherwise, outside India, spending will not be considered as a CSR. Political contribution. If you have done any political contribution, that will not be considered as the, any political contribution shall not be considered as the CSR expenditure. Benefit of employee. If you are doing any activity for the benefit of the employee, for an example, if you are distributing the COVID-19 vaccines to your employees, that will not consider as a CSR expenditure. If you are distributing food items to your employees, that will not consider as a CSR expenditure. Anything that done for the employees shall not be considered as a CSR expenditure. Benefit to its product. If you are doing something which is sponsoring your product, activities supported by the companies on a sponsorship basis for deriving market benefits for its product or service shall not be considered as a CSR expenditure. Other obligation is law. If due to obligation in any other law, you are spending some amount, that amount shall not be considered as a CSR. So these 6 are the specific exclusion of the CSR. These 6 activities shall not be considered as a CSR activities. Now ministry came with a new concept, unique registration number. Before discussing this concept, I just want to discuss one provision. I have received a lot of queries on these provisions from the professionals. So let's discuss and start from this. Implementation of the CSR spending. How we can do the implementation of the CSR? This is a question in mind of every professional. How to do the implementation of the CSR? How CSR will be implemented? So this is question everywhere. Now today in this webinar, definitely the purpose of webinar to clear the provision of the CSR for everyone. So today let's discuss the implementation of the CSR. First question, which is raised, whether company can directly do the CSR activity? The answer will be yes. Company can directly do the CSR activity. Second question, if a company directly want to do some CSR activity, if company directly doing CSR activity, what are the things company have to keep in mind? So let me answer one by one. As mentioned there, CSR activity can be undertaken by the company itself. First thing, there are the different categories through which we can do the CSR activity. Between all of them, most important CSR activity can be undertaken by company itself. For an example, you are purchasing some food item or medical item and you are directly distributing, it will be considered as a CSR. You are spending money on development of hospital, it will be considered as a CSR. You are spending money for purpose of the education, free education of the poor children and all, it will be considered as a CSR. So first thing, company can directly do the CSR. It is not mandatory that we have to do the CSR activity through anyone. If you want, you can directly do the CSR activity through yourself. First is clear. Second, if you don't do the CSR activity through yourself, then you can do the CSR activity through the following agencies. First, through a company established under Section 8. Second, through a registered public trust. Third, through a registered society. Fourth, any Section 8 company, trust or society established by central government or state government. Fifth, any Section 8 company, trust or society established under any act of the parliament or state legislature. First thing, company can directly do the CSR activity. Second thing, if company directly don't do the CSR activity, they can do it through the Section 8 company, trust, society, or such trust society Section 8 established by central government or state government. Such trust society Section 8 company is established under act of the parliament or state legislature. So these are the 5 entities through which you can do the CSR activity. First, clear, company can do it itself. Second, through these agencies. Third, a company may also collaborate with other companies for undertaking the project and program of the CSR activity. For example, if a company want to renovate a school building and it is required to spend ₹5 crore for renovation of the school building, but the CSR spending of the company, the liability of the company to spend on CSR is only 3 crore. In that case, company can collaborate with any other company, and in that collaboration with other company can spend on the CSR activity. So this can be the condition. First, company can directly do the CSR activity. Second, company can collaborate with other companies or maybe with the group companies and can do the CSR activity. Third, company can do it through the trust, society, or Section 8 company. These are the 3 types of agencies: company itself, company with other companies, company through any agency. Now, when a company do the CSR activity through any agency, like when a company do CSR activity through a trust, society, or Section 8 company have to check some points. Now, this is very important, relevant for the chartered accountant. When you will do the audits, when we will do the statutory audit this year for the financial year ended 31st March 2021, and your company has spent on the CSR, please check the following document with that company. Number 1, if company spent through a trust, that trust should be public registered trust. Trust cannot be a private trust. Trust cannot be a unregistered trust. Trust should be public registered trust, and it should be registered with the registrar of trust. So if your company, if your client company have spent CSR through a trust, you will ask them, please provide us a copy of the registration certificate of the trust. Second, such trust, society or Section 8 company should have registration under Section 12A and 80G of the Income Tax Act, and it became mandatory. So such trust, society and Section 8 company must have registration under Section 12A and 80G of the Income Tax Act. This is a mandatory condition. So first thing you have to check, such trust should be a public registered trust. It cannot be a private trust. Second thing, whether a trust, whether society, whether Section 8 company, they should have a registration under Section 12A and 80G of the Income Tax Act. It is mandatory for them to have registration under Section 12A, 80G of the Income Tax Act. If your company is spending on the CSR, through a trust, society or Section 8 company which don't have any registration with 12A and 80G, then such contribution shall not be considered as the CSR contribution. So be careful. As auditor, please note down this point when you will do the audit. Now the concept of the CSR audit has also been started. First check if it is done through the trust or society. It should be registered trust or registered society, and trust should be public registered trust. Second thing, whether it is a trust, whether it is a society, whether it is a Section 8 company, all must be having registration of the 12A and 80G of the Income Tax Act. Now the question arises, trust having registration under 12A but does not have registration under 80G. It is having registration under 12A but it does not have registration under 80G. Whether this contribution shall be considered as a CSR contribution or not. If trust having registration under 12A but trust don't have registration under 80G, whether this contribution shall be considered as a CSR contribution or not. The answer will be no. Both the conditions should be fulfilled. 12A and 80G, both registration should be there with the trust at the time of taking money. Third condition, whether such trust, whether such society, whether such Section 8 company must have a track record of 3 years in taking the similar activity. उस ट्रस्ट सोसाइटी और सेक्शन 8 कंपनी का 3 years का ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड होना चाहिए to do that activity. So 3 conditions you have to check. First, trust should be a public registered trust. Society should be a registered. Second, whether such trust, society or Section 8 company, all three should have registration under 12A and 80G at the time of accepting money. Third, all should have a track record of at least 3 years for undertaking the similar project. Any question regarding implementation of the CSR, please mention in the question box, because I just have a one focus ki after this webinar, all these 1100 professionals should be clear with the provision of the CSR. So CSR can be done by company directly itself, collaboration with other company, that may be group company or may not be, and through the trust, society or Section 8 company. If you are doing through a trust, society or Section 8 company, these 3 conditions require to be fulfilled. One new condition is added with effect from 1st April. These 3 conditions is required from 22nd January 2021. But 4th condition from the 1st April. Registration of such entity shall be mandatory for filing of CSR1. And registration of entity with the registrar of company. Such entity should be registered with the registrar of company. Now, how the entity will register with the registrar of company? Let's discuss the provision. This year, Ministry have introduced a new provision. This year, Ministry have introduced a new provision is the unique registration number. Let me read it. Every entity who is covered under this rule, who intended to do the CSR activity, shall register itself with the central government, that is ROC, by filing of CSR1 form with effect from 1st day of April. On filing of CSR1, one unique registration number shall be generated by the system automatically. So from the 1st April, it is mandatory for every implementing agency to register itself with ROC. So if you are giving any amount as a CSR expenditure to any trust, any society, any Section 8 company on or after 1st April 2021, please check whether they are registered with ROC by filing of CSR1 or not. If they have not filed their CSR1, they are not eligible to take CSR expenditure. Now the question arises, what is the due date of filing of CSR? Legally speaking, there is no due date of filing of the CSR1 form because CSR1 is required to file by a trust, society or Section 8 company anytime after 1st April, but anytime before accepting of CSR amount. For an example, till 30th September as a trust, I don't accept any CSR amount. Then I don't require to file CSR1 till 30th September. But if I am accepting CSR amount today, 13th May, so before accepting, I should file the CSR1 form. By filing of the CSR1 form, one unique registration number shall be generated by the ROC, and whatever mail ID we will mention in this form, on that mail ID, that unique registration number and certificate will be mailed by the ROC. Now one more question. Now I want the view of all of you in this question. In e-form CSR1, I have another question. If company directly doing the CSR activity, whether company required to file CSR1 form or not. If company directly doing the CSR activity, whether company required to file the CSR form or not. Some answer is mentioned yes, some is no. No need to file. Is CSR1 being given by CRC? No. So many answers are in favor of no and some in favor of yes. So let me clarify it. If company directly spending on the CSR, in that case, it is not required to file the CSR1. CSR1 is mandatory for the trust, society and Section 8 companies. So hope we are clear with two provisions of the CSR. First, through whom company can do the CSR activity, that is about the implementation of the CSR. Second, unique registration number, because this is a new concept, you have to guide your client about the same. Unique registration number. Now the third concept, provision on the excess spending on the CSR. As we know, till 31st March, as we know, before this amendment, there was provision under Companies Act. Company have to spend 2% of the average net profit of immediate preceding financial year. Here, net profit shall be calculated as per Section 198. If average net profit of immediate preceding 3 financial year of the company have to spend 2% of the average net profit of the preceding 3 financial year. For an example, in the financial year 2021, which just ended, in the financial year 2021, as 2%, my requirement was spending on the CSR was rupees 50 lakh. It was required by me to spend on the CSR 50 lakh, but I have spent it 70 lakh instead of the 50 lakh. Whether I will get any benefit of the excess spending of the 20 lakh in next financial years. I have to spend on the CSR is 50 lakh, but I spend on the CSR is 70 lakh. Whether I will get any benefit of excess 20 lakh spending. If I forget this amendment rule, since last 7 years, there was a provision under Companies Act, you have to spend 2%. If you spend more than 2%, that will be considered as a charity from your part. You will not get any benefit on the Companies Act. If you spend more than 2%, you will not get any benefit under Companies Act. Like someone has mentioned no benefit. Definitely, till now the provision was the same. if you spend excess amount on the CSR, you will not get any benefit. You can say you just have spent as per your requirement. But now the law has amended. As company on which provision CSR applicable, what if excess amount is spent? As per the amendment by 22nd January 2021, they have made amendment in Rule 7 Sub Rule 3. Now they have mentioned, if a company spend on the CSR in excess of the requirement, that is 2%, such excess amount may be set off against the requirement of the CSR expenditure up to immediate 3 succeeding financial years, subject to the condition company will pass a board resolution to such effect. So now ministry have given a new way to the companies. If you spend on the CSR more than the requirement, you can set off that in next 3 financial year. You just have to pass a board resolution. Passing a board resolution not a big task for the companies. So they have mentioned, if you spend on the CSR more than your requirement, you will get benefit up to next 3 years for set off. For an example, in 2021, instead of 50 lakh, I have spent 70 lakh. That 20 lakh I can set off in next 3 financial year, that is 21-22, 22-23, 23-24. Now ministry have given a good benefit to the corporates, that is to benefit of the excess spending. Earlier there was no benefit on the companies for the excess spending. So definitely ministry have done a good move by giving this relaxation to the corporate by the excess spending. So hope we are clear with the provision of excess spending. But now one question is there. Can you set off the excess amount of the 1920 in 2021? If in the financial year we have spent excess amount, can we set off that excess amount in 2021? Because provision has been implemented with effect from 22nd January 2021. If in the financial year 1920 we have spent more than the requirement, whether we will get any benefit in 2021? One answer is yes, one answer is no. What are the other views, guys? Yes, yes, no, no. 50-50 are there. Some are in favor of yes, some are in favor of no. No, no. So let me clarify. Provision become implemented with effect from 22nd January 2021. Provision are prospectively effect, not the retrospective. So whatever you have spent in 1920 doesn't matter. But in 2021, if you have spent excess amount, you can definitely take up the benefit of the same in next 3 financial years. Now the most important provision of the CSR, treatment of the unspent amount. If the company fails to spend 2% of the average net profit, then the following shall be the treatment of the unspent amount. If the company fails to spend 2% of the average net profit, now this is a very important question, because I have discussed one term at the starting of the session. Now CSR spending become mandatory from voluntary. This is the provision which hit that thing. Treatment of the unspent amount. Before understanding the new provision, let's discuss the earlier provision. Till the financial year 1920, and that is 31st March 2020, if the CSR was applicable on the company, but company had not spent it on the CSR till the year 1920, if CSR was applicable on the company and company has not spent on the CSR, what was the consequences? First thing, company have to give a declaration in the director report. Company have to give a declaration in the director report that the reason why company has not spent on the CSR. If company has given the declaration in the director report, that shall be considered as a proper compliance of the CSR without any issue. Till 31st March 2020, this was a provision. So even in the last years, from 2014 to 2020, if you have not spent on the CSR and you have given a proper disclosure in the director report, then it is a proper compliance for you. You don't require to spend that amount now. Because this question is asked by many persons through my WhatsApp group, if company has not spent in the previous years, whether now company have to spend that amount or not, the answer will be no. If in the previous year CSR was applicable on you, but you not spent on the CSR, but you have given a proper disclosure in the director report, then it would be considered as a proper compliance. At that time, given disclosure in the director report was a compliance. You was not required to anything else except that. But now, with effect from 22nd January 2021, for the financial year 2020-21, scenario has been changed. Now, if you have not spent on the CSR, then you have to follow this rule. This rule is divided into three parts. Part number one, if unspent amount is relating to an ongoing project. First, what is the meaning of ongoing project? As definition of the ongoing project is here. Ongoing project means a multi-year project having timeline not exceeding 3 years, excluding the financial year when in which it was commenced. Ongoing project means a multi-year project. Ongoing project means a multi-year project having timeline of not exceeding 3 financial year. Not exceeding 3 years, excluding the financial year in which it was commenced. So a project for a period more than a year, less than 3, up to 3 years can be considered as an ongoing project. For an example, I am spending on the CSR by construction of a school building. Now, construction of school building is not possible. Sometimes maybe it's not possible for me to construct that building within a period of 5 months or 6 months. It will take 2 to 3 years for the construction of that building. That project shall be considered as an ongoing project. So, ministry have mentioned, if you have any unspent amount relating to the ongoing project, means I am in the financial year 2021, it was requirement for a company to spend 1 crore on the CSR. I have already spent 30 lakh on a project, but that project is ongoing. I means I have to spend remaining amount on that project in next 3 financial year. For the development of the school building, 30 lakh I have already given, but remaining 70 lakh I don't have to give right now, but I have to spend that amount in the coming days. In that case, ministry said there is no issue. The amount, the unspent amount, that 70 lakh, be transferred within a period of 30 days from the end of financial year to a special account to be opened by company behalf of that financial year in the scheduled bank. That account to be called as a unspent corporate social responsibility account. Let me describe this. Ministry mentioned, if you have spent some amount on the CSR and that is your ongoing project, in that case, whatever is the unspent amount, transfer that unspent amount within 30 days from end of financial year. Financial year 2021 end on 31st March 2021. So 30 days is April 30. Transfer the unspent amount within 30 days to a separate account in a scheduled bank called as a unspent corporate social responsibility account. So within 30 days of end of financial year, you have to open an account with the scheduled bank in the name of unspent corporate social responsibility account, and you have to transfer the whole amount in that account. And you can use that amount in next 3 years, next 3 financial year for that project. That is okay. Second thing, if company fails to spend on the ongoing project in next 3 financial year, means even in the second situation, even in the next 3 financial year, company fails to spend the whole amount. Even in the next 3 financial year, company fails to spend the whole amount. Then the remaining amount shall be transferred. to the government in the funds mentioned under Schedule 7. Let me repeat it. If company fails to spend the amount in next 3 financial year, if company fails to spend the amount even in next 3 financial year, then whatever will be the remaining amount, company have to transfer that amount to the funds of the government under Schedule 7. This is the second situation. Now I come of the third situation. If unspent amount not relating to the ongoing project. First we have discussed our unspent amount was relating to an ongoing project. Now I am discussing my unspent amount is not relating to any ongoing project, means I have to spend 1 crore on the CSR. I have spent just 50 lakh on the different activities, but I don't have any ongoing project as on 31st March 2021. Then what about the remaining 50 lakh? Or there may be a question, I have to spend 1 crore on the CSR, I spend nil amount till 31st March. Then what should be the treatment of that 1 crore, or what should be the treatment of that unspent amount? So ministry mentioned, unless the unspent amount relating to any ongoing project, they have to do one thing, transfer such unspent amount to a fund specified in Schedule 7 within a period of 6 months from the expiry of the year. For an example, for the financial year 2021, which is end of 31st March 2021, your company don't spend on the CSR. In that case, whole unspent amount you have to transfer to the government in Schedule 7 fund till 30th September 2021. So this is the treatment of the unspent amount. If you are having ongoing project, transfer to a separate account in 30 days and use in 3 years. If you don't use in 3 years, then transfer the fund to the Schedule 7. But if you don't have any ongoing project, but you have unspent amount, in that case, very simple, transfer the whole amount to the government in the Schedule 7 funds. Now, what are the funds mentioned under Schedule 7? Schedule 7 mentioned the 3 type of funds. First, Clean Ganga Fund. Second, Prime Minister Relief Fund. Third, PM Care Fund. These are the 3 funds mentioned under Schedule 7. Now the question arises, if company having unspent amount as on 31st March 2021, whether company, instead of transferring the amount to the government, can spend that amount in next 6 months by itself. If a company having unspent amount as on 31st March 2021, instead of transferring that amount to the government, whether company can spend that amount directly by itself. The answer will be no. Company is not allowed to directly spend. Ministry said, you as a company having time till 31st March, you can spend till 31st March. But if you don't spend till 31st March, then just transfer the amount to the Schedule 7. We will see how to spend the amount. This is the treatment of the schedule unspent amount. Next provision, we are having next 10 minutes to discuss the provision, then I will start to take up the queries. So please mention all your queries. Reporting of the CSR. If CSR is applicable on you, how much reporting you have to do? First, company shall annex with its director report and annual report on the CSR in format Annexure 1 for 1920 and Annexure 2. On 31st March 2021, our financial year end, that is financial year 2021. So this year, when you will prepare a director report, definitely earlier also you must have prepared the annexure of the CSR. But this year, the annexure has been changed. You cannot use the same format of the CSR annexure like last year. You have to use the new format of the CSR annexure, that is Annexure 2. Earlier format was very short, just 5 or 7 information you have to mention, but now this is a very lengthy annexure. You have to give lot of detail about the CSR. To give those detail of the CSR, you must have a good knowledge of the CSR provision. Otherwise, you will not able. Otherwise, practically you will not able to mention those information in your annexure. So that's why today's webinar is very important for us. You must be aware about all such provisions. So first thing, you have to attach an Excel with the director report. Second thing, if your company having website, you have to do three things. First, you have to publish composition of the CSR committee on your website. It is mandatory to publish composition of committee on the CSR on the website. You have to publish CSR policy on your website. Third, whatever the project approved by the board, you also have to publish those projects on their website. So if company having website, my question is if company having website, then these three things are required to be published on the website. Next point is administration overhead. The administration overhead shall not be exceeding 5% of the total CSR expenditure. If I have to spend 1 crore on the CSR, then my administration overhead expenses can be maximum 5 lakh. That cannot be more than 5% of the CSR expenditure. Now the question, what is meaning of the administration overhead? Administration overhead means the expenses incurred by the company for general management and administration of the CSR functioning in the company. It does not include expense directly incurred by the company for designing, implementing, monitoring, or evaluation of the product of the CSR program. What should be the course of action if there is any surplus from the CSR? If surplus is arising out of the CSR activity, that shall not be treated as a part of the business profit. Such surplus can be used for the following activity within a period of 6 months. Plug back that surplus to the same project, transfer to the unspent amount, spent according to the CSR policies. Implementation we have already discussed. Impact assessment. Impact assessment. Oh, sorry. Next is the impact assessment. Impact assessment is a new provision. As per this provision, it is a new concept, totally new concept. Impact assessment is applicable on a company which is having obligation to spend on the CSR amount of rupees 10 crore or more in the 3 immediate preceding financial year. If company CSR spending in immediate preceding 3 financial year is rupees 10 crore or more, then impact assessment will be applicable on you. Now the question arises, on which project impact assessment will applicable? Impact assessment to be done in respect of the CSR project having outlay of rupees 1 crore or more. First condition, in previous 3 financial year, the spending of CSR should be 10 crore or more. If you fall in this limit, then the second thing, if whatever project of the CSR having outlay of 1 crore or more, such project is required the CSR impact assessment. CSR policy. Ministry have added 2 new points under the CSR policy. Point number 1, CSR policy to be include approach and direction given by the board of company taking into account the recommendation of its CSR committee. Second, guiding principle for selection, implementation, monitoring of the activity as well as formulation of the annual action plan. So these 2 things, now it became mandatory to mention about these 2 provisions also in CSR policy. If CSR is applicable on any of your company, definitely that company must having the CSR policy. As a professional, you have to guide them that they have to amend their CSR policy and they have to add these points in their CSR policy. So with effect from 1st April 2021, it is mandatory to have these 2 points, detailed discussion on these 2 points in your CSR policy. One more point has been added, CSR committee. There is one relaxation, one compliance relaxation has been given by the ministry. Ministry mentioned that if your spending of the CSR, is less than 50 lakh, if your spending on the CSR is less than 50 lakh, then you don't require to constitute the CSR committee. Whatever compliance is done by the CSR committee, that compliance can be done by the board of directors. So here ministry have given a big relaxation. Ministry have given a big relaxation to the corporate that you don't have to, that if spending on the CSR is less than 50 lakh, you don't have to spend on the, you don't have to constitute the CSR committee. You just can do the whole work of the CSR committee through the board of directors. So these are the some provisions relating to the CSR which we have discussed today. These are all are the provision of the CSR applicable on the companies. So whatever queries you guys have in your mind, you can mention your queries in the question box. And before discussing the question, I would just want to say, as we have discussed about the treatment of the unspent amount, treatment of the excess spend, implementation of the CSR, impact assessment, amendment in the policy, and compliances of the CSR. So as a point of view of the auditor, as a point of view of the chartered accountant, it is very important for all of us, whenever we do the whenever we do the statutory audit now, internal audit, please we have to very careful about this provision, because the CSR provision having very heavy penalties on the companies as well as the professional also. So please make sure the companies has complied with the provision in a very good manner, because this amendment many times it happened, as Ministry came up with lot of amendment under CSR from 22nd January. So many times it happened that corporates and professionals are not aware about the amendment. That's why they make a default under compliance of the CSR provision. So please make sure that this time you do audit of the company, and if CSR is applicable on that company, you have to check all these points. Further, I would like to say, many questions I am receiving from the professional through my WhatsApp group, that is Gyan Gurukul. I have also shared my number in the chat box also. If anyone, any professional want to join the WhatsApp group Gyan Gurukul for the regular updates, for the discussion of the provision, we are open for that. Please drop a message to us. Now I will request to the Rilwa, please take up the question read the question one by one, so we can take up the questions from the members.
Sure, sir. 1 minute, I'll just share my screen.
Sure, sir.
Screen visible, sir?
Yes, now screen is visible.
So I have compiled to my best effort, and the question keeps on coming. We'll just take it up, whatever that's compiled.
Yeah, sure. So the question number 1, whether distribution of the food, cloth, and medicine in the rural area slum are eligible for expenses of the CSR. See, first thing we all have to we have to consider, we have to concern about things. Whenever we are confusing whether our activity will be considered as a CSR activity or not, please just read the Schedule 7. Schedule 7 under Companies Act mentioned the 12 or 13 points. They are very clear in their language what shall be part of the CSR and what shall not be part of the CSR. So if you will read the Schedule 7, it is specifically mentioned to help the poor people, to help the society like in the slum and rural area by distributing the food, cloth, medicine. All these things shall be considered as the CSR expenditure. Question number 2. CSR unspent amount amendment provision with effect from 22nd January 2021. Is it sufficient if the company transfer the unspent CSR amount relating to 2021 to the fund specified in Schedule 7 by 30 spender for not on ongoing project? Yes. See, as I discussed the provision, Ministry has given us 2 ways. First way, if you have any ongoing project, in that case, you have to open a separate account, transfer amount in separate account using 3 years. But if you are saying I don't have any ongoing project, in that case, it's very simple. Transfer whole unspent amount to the 3 funds mentioned under Schedule 7 till 30th September. That will be considered as a proper compliance. In that case, definitely you have to give a disclosure in the director report that you have transferred the whole amount to the Schedule 7 funds. Question number 3. While calculating the CSR amount, 2% average net profit made during 3 preceding financial years, should the previous year CSR amount debited to P&L to be added back to the net profit? See, for the purpose of the calculation of the net profit, I am not going deep in the calculation of the net profit. The net profit should be calculated as per section 198. So according to me, if we are calculating as per section 198, definitely the previous year's spending will also be added back. So I would request to all of you, I have prepared an Excel sheet for calculation of the net profit as per section 198. I will share that sheet with the chairman sir, and if anyone want to get from myself also, so I have given my WhatsApp number, you can message me, I will share that sheet also. So that sheet will help you to calculate the net profit as per section 198. So chairman sir, I will share the presentation and that sheet with you, so you can share with the members. Question number 4. As an organization, won't distribute medical instruments, oxygen, gloves, masks, sanitizer to government, run PHS in village near to our plant. Whether it can be considered as a CSR spend, even though this distribution is not directly to the beneficiary. The rule says the distribution shall happen directly beneficially. Here we are planning to distribute to the government PSS. See, as this question is relating to the specifically COVID, regarding the COVID, ministry have given some relaxation recently also. Ministry have mentioned if you implement a oxygen plant, supply the oxygen, that will be considered as a CSR expenditure. And they have issued a circular, if anything you have done for the COVID, that will be considered as a CSR. If you are setting up the hospitals, if you are setting up the makeshift hospital, that will consider a CSR. So that you said you are distributing the oxygen, gloves, mask, sanitizer to the government to run the PSH in the village. So this will cover under the healthcare section of the Schedule 7, and this will definitely consider as a CSR expenditure. You just have to prove that you have done it with the government. It will consider as a CSR. Question number 5. What is the due date MSc3 for the financial year 2021? Actual date is 30th April. Yes, as I had discussed, Ministry has given the relaxation for filing of the MSc3 form. Now, new due date after extension for filing of MSc3 form is 31st July 2021. Sir, can you just scroll the screen? Question number C. Question number 6. Distribution of books to poor student, distribution of uniform and clothes to the poor, providing borewell and drinking water to the rural areas. Above expenses are eligible to CSR. As per my understanding, all the above shall be considered as a CSR expenditure. Now, let me just justify why all these things shall be considered as a CSR expenditure. Just give me a second. As per Schedule 7, it is specifically mentioned eradicating the hunger, poverty, and malnutrition, and sanitation, and making available safe drinking water is part of the CSR. Promotion of education, including special education and employment enhancement skills training, will be considered as a CSR. Whatever I read, that was the language of the Schedule 7. So they are mentioning, Schedule 7 is specifically mentioned, making available safe drinking water, promotion of the education is part of the CSR. So like distribution of the book is the promotion of the education. Borewell is for the drinking water. Uniform clothes to the poor is also for the education. So it will consider as the CSR. Question 7. Relaxation is additional fees yet not appeared in MCA website. If we are trying to upload DR12 for which our due date is 1st May, additional fees is 1200 is being charged. When we can expect? Agree. Ministry has not implemented this circular till now. Even Ministry by 2 days notification mentioned that only 10 form are part of the circular, which is not justifiable. So maybe Ministry come with a clarification in a day or couple of days, and then maybe they will implement such things and will allow to file the form without the additional fees. I'm on the regular basis, I'm posting whatever is amendment by the Ministry through my WhatsApp group, Gyan group, or on my LinkedIn channel or YouTube channel. So it's just a request to the professional. I'm doing all these activity to help the professionals and to share the knowledge. So you should join me on my LinkedIn channel or YouTube or WhatsApp. So the regular basis, you will get the amendment under corporate laws. Next question. A company held its board meeting and EGM for issue of bonus share in March 21. However, due to lockdown, they could not file the forms in April, which was due for filing. MC circular this has provided relief in respect to delayed form. Is the present case the lockdown still for? Is relief is given is real or is only a mirage? As per the language of the circular, relief is real. But as per the list of form issued by Ministry today, it is look like a mirage. So I would request all of you, let's wait for a couple of days or 3 days. Ministry definitely will come with a clarification on the same, because lot of representation has been made by the ministry. Even I would request to the SIRC also, sir, if it is possible, make a representation to the ministry that as per the language of the circular, all forms are covered. Then why they have mentioned only 10 forms in today's list? Question number 9. Question number 9 is mentioned. Private companies required to appoint whole-time company secretary during the middle of the financial year 2021. Company secretary has resigned. Till now, no fresh appointment was made. As an auditor, has the company will guide on the reporting responsibility. See, if any KMP resigned, company should fulfill the vacancy within 6 months. If till 31st March, 6 months has not been crossed, definitely you can mention that company has having a CS which has been resigned. Company will appoint a new CS. You don't have to give a qualification. But 6 months has been passed before 31st March. Then definitely it is a non-compliance of section 203. You should give a qualification on the same. Question 10. Whether medical benefit to retired employees insurance scheme shall qualify. Any benefit to the employees or the retired employees, because the definition of the employees you have to taken from the Wages Act. So as per my knowledge, Wages Act, the definition of the employees does not include the retired employees. So if that definition is not including, it will be considered as the CSR. So I would request to you, whoever asked this question, please just go through the definition of the employees in the Wages Act. If retired employees is not covered there, it will be considered as a CSR. If they are covered, then it will not consider the CSR. After next question number 11, after amendment in Jan 21, provision of the CSR expenditure is required in the books of account as is mandatory in the nature. So for the purpose of the provision, definitely now it is mandatory for the financial year 31st March 2021. But provision are in the two cases. If you are in an ongoing project, you will show the amount in a separate account. If you don't have an ongoing project, transfer the whole amount to the government till 30th September. So there is nothing like a provision. Maximum you can do the one thing. If you are finalizing the financial in the June, you can show as a provision that company have to transfer this amount to the government. And before 30th September, definitely you have to transfer. So provision you have to create if you have not transferred the amount before 31st March. Question number 12, CSR can be donated to endowment fund after amendment Jan 20. Endowment fund which is run on the perpetuity basis through interest and investment or endowment fund, the original fund is untouched. If yes, but about utilization certificate, this is 1 year and ongoing project. Endowment fund for the which purpose? Which is run on the perpetuity basis through interest and on investment of endowment fund. First, we have to check whether these funds are covered under Schedule 7. So for that purpose, I would request you please clarify in the next questions whether endowment fund is using for the what purpose, because I am not aware about this fund. Question number 13. Filing without additional fees applicable for filing as on 31st April 2021. Will this apply annual filing pending or due? See, the circular specifically mentioned if your due date is between 1st April to 31st May, then you will get benefit of this circular. But your annual filing due date is not falling in this period, so you will not get any benefit for the annual filing. Next question number 14, relaxation is additional fees not yet appearing in AMSE site. If you are trying to upload, yes, I have already answered this question. Question number 15, can a company incur CSR expenditure through a public charitable trust registered with MCA, which is freshly incorporated with a 3-year existence is mandatory? As I said, 3 conditions. First, trust should be public registered trust. Second, trust should have a registration of 12A and 80G. Third, trust should have 3-year track record. So if trust is not having 3-year track record, you cannot use. But one situation is there. If company is creating a Section 8 company, a trust or society, if company itself is creating a trust, society or Section 8 company, in that case, criteria of 3 years is not required to be fulfilled. But if trust, society or Section 8 company is not incorporated by your company, then 3-year criteria is mandatory. Question 16. Can amount spent for the benefit of a group association consist of the ex-serviceman or their family member by a company? Can be considered CSR expenditure. As already answered, if ex-service person, if retired employees are not part of the definition of the employee of the Wages Code Act, then it will be considered as a CSR. Otherwise, it will not consider as the CSR. Question 17. The trust has made an application for 12A before the income tax authority, but registration is pending. Can contribution to that trust is eligible? No. Until unless trust doesn't get the registration under 12A and 80G, contribution cannot be considered as a CSR contribution. Question number 18. Can a company establish its own agency spending? Yes. Company itself can create a trust. Company itself can create a trust society or Section 8 company. Question 19. Whether sponsoring the salary and the other amenities to the staff of a charitable organization by a company comes under CSR. See, if the trust is a charitable registered trust, and if you are doing something for their employees which are doing the charitable activities only, so according to me, we can justify it as a CSR expenditure. Question 20. Does company floats its own trust? Company promote will trustee, and can trust have the object of? Yes. Company itself can create a trust, no issue. Question 21. Can we say that the payment of pension to the spouse of the deceased during the course of employment? No. Payment of pension will not be considered as a CSR. Question 22. CSR can be donated to the endowment fund after amendment Jan 21. Endowment fund question I have already said. You have to clarify it. Question 23. Can CSR fund be transferred to a trust which is related party to the company? That no issue is there. Definitely you have to do your compliances of section 188, but it is not restricted. Question 24. Company has paid 17 days salary to its third party contract employee. Can it be taken as a CSR expenditure? Yes. Third party or employees, third party workers are not considered as the employee as per Wages Code Act. So definitely you can consider as a CSR expenditure to them. But don't mention salary. Salary will not consider a CSR expenditure, but you have done any help to them in their education, in their food, in their medical, that will be considered. Salary is not covered under Schedule 7. Question 25. While doing CSR activity, whether that include the benefit to the company's employees also? No. Even if you are doing the vaccination of the employee of the company, it will not consider as a CSR expenditure. Will not consider. Question 26. In Tamil Nadu, there is no registration for a trust. Only the trust deed would be registered with the local sub-registrar office. The sub-trust would have section 820 registration. If there is no concept in a state of registration, then if you are registered with the local sub-registrar office, that will be considered as a proper compliance of law. If a corporate hospital allows bed under the CSR funds and treat patient and supply medicine to the in-house patient, will it be treated as a CSR spend? If a hospital is providing the CSR facility to their employees, will not consider as a CSR expenditure. But if a hospital providing the CSR, if a hospital doing activities for the outsider, definitely consider as a CSR. Question 28. In case trust and society registration 12 in ATG is valid until 31st March 2021. From 1st 2021, renewal application has been made on the tax portal. Can the registration that is valid until 31 be used for the registration of such institution in the MCA portal by filing CSR1? Till now, Ministry has not clarified this, but according to the language of the law, it seems that if you have filed application for the renewal, until unless your application is rejected, you are considered as a registered under 12A and ATG, and you can consider as a applicable for the CSR. Question 29. Are the CSR expense which can be claimed as expenditure in the Income Tax Act? You can claim it as an expenditure under the Income Tax Act, nothing else. After CSR1, what other form need to be submitted annually? No annual form for a company or trust or society Section 8 to file with the ROC. Question 31. 3-year track record is only for the registered society or trust also. How to check that? 3-year track record is applicable on the registered society, trust, and Section 8, all three implementing agency. You have to check with the document. You have to ask a lot of document to them. Question 32. What happens if 3-year condition is not fulfilled even though 1280 is available? If 3-year condition is not fulfilled, you are not allowed to take the CSR expenditure as the CSR expenditure. Question 33. Can you elaborate the trust route? Should the trust be registered as a trust on MCA also? There is no option of the registration of trust on the MCA. Trust should be registered with the registrar of trust. Trust must have registration under 12A and ATG. Then you have to file CSR1 with the ROC. Question number 33. Can you elaborate the trust? Can you just scroll down the screen, please? Question number 34. Company has given contribution in February 21 and March 21 to a hospital to conduct medical camp at village, whether it will be qualified. According to me, as per Schedule 7, it is covering under the healthcare facilities. Definitely, it should consider as the CSR expenditure, because they have specifically mentioned promoting healthcare, including preventive healthcare, is the part of. Question 35. Whether Section 8 company having 12 registration but doesn't ATG can accept the CSR fund? No. Both registration are mandatory. Question 36. Whether the trust have to be registered with the registrar of trust in addition to registration? Yes, trust have to be registered with the registrar of trust. Question 37. As of date, Tamil Nadu does not have. We have already discussed the question about the Tamil Nadu registration section. Question number 38. Registration under 12A and ATG and CSR1 is mandatory for trust established by the central government, state government. Yes, definitely it is mandatory for everyone. Registration under 12AA is mandatory if the trust is registered under 1023 CES. Companies Act is saying mandatory to register under 12A and ATG. Doesn't matter you are registered under the section or not. Section 39. Suppose company is contributing to multiple trusts, then separate CSR form to be filed for each trust. CSR1 is not to be filed by the company. CSR1 to be filed by the trust, society or Section 8 company. So that trust have to file, you don't have to file. COVID form filing relaxation also available to CSR. Right now, as per the language of the circular, there is no relaxation for filing of the CSR1. Question 41. Suppose company's contribution to multiple trusts. I have already taken this question. 42 has already been taken. Please come up with the question 43, sir. Question 43. Newly started Section 8 company will not have track record of 3 years. If so, we implement CSR project. Newly incorporated Section 8 company cannot take the CSR activity until unless if your company has incorporated this and your company is doing the transaction through it. But through a public section company, you cannot do this. Question 44. A company is required to spend 10 lakh in 2018-19, 15 lakh in 2019-20. No amount has been spent. Whether unspent amount to be specified fund to be done for the entire 3 year only. Unspent amount you have to take up only for the last year, that is 2021. Before that, whatever is your unspent amount, you don't have to transfer to the government. Question 45. Company not donate her money before 31st March due to some restriction imposed by a bank, but that transfer the money to the trust on 1st April. Then what are the consequences? If you have transferred the money to the trust on 1st April 2021, then it will be considered as a contribution for 2021-22. For the financial year 2020-21, you have to transfer the fund to the government. Question 46. What happens if company has made only provision in books of account but not spend it actually? Whether the same will reverse since the yes, you can reverse it because it is not applicable till 31st March 2020. Question 47. There was unspent amount 31st March 2020. The same is disclosed in the directory. Still amount is not spent. If amount is relating to the period 31st March 2020 or before that, and you have given the disclosure in the director report, not required to spend that amount in the following years. Question 48. If the director of the company have formed a registered public trust or running a college, whether amount spent to construction college? Yes. If you yourself is having a trust, then whatever you are doing for that trust or through that trust will be considered as a CSR activity. Question 49. In case we are sponsoring the education of the needy student of the entire course, will be considered as an ongoing project? Definitely you can consider it as an ongoing project, but there's the one thing, these courses are relating to the every year you have to pay the fees. So if you have paid the fees for that financial year, then how you can say ki this is ongoing project for this financial year, you will pay the fees in the next year? This is very tricky. I think we should not take this risk. Question 50. If company has unspent amount pertaining to the previous 2 years prior to, whatever is the unspent amount relating to the period before 31st March 2020 will not require to spend. Question 51. What is the duties of the auditor if company have not spent on the, if company have not spent on the CSR, then auditor have to qualify this. What about unspent CSR amount of 31st March 2020? There is nothing to about the 31st March 2020. You just have to given the disclosure in the director report, which you already must have given. Question 53. What happens if the company has not transferred the unspent amount in the ongoing project in a special bank account till 31st March due to pandemic? Then it will be considered as a non-compliance of law and you are liable for the penalty. There is no relaxation done by the government history. Question number 54. What is the treatment of unspent amount leading to the nothing to be done with the 2020? Question 55. How else an ongoing project could be defined? Understand, apart from the multi-year project, company has decided to spend on education of poor student and doing continue over more than a year. If you are doing something for the education of the poor student, definitely you are doing every year. According to me, it will not consider as a multi-year project. Question 56. In case amount is not transferred to the unspent corporate social responsibility within 30 days. So can you just minimize the video? And thank you. In case of amount is not transferred to the unspent on penalty will be liable as per section 135. Question 58. My CSR amount is 100 lakh. I have spent 50 lakh before 30 months. The balance before 30th September still have to transfer. Balance you have to transfer till 30th September to the Schedule 7 funds. Is 2% CSR amount inclusive administration expenses? Yes. Question 59. If company instead of any CSR activity pays directly to the specified fund like this, whether the company need to give the details on the website? Yes, definitely you have to give the details on the website that according to your policy you are spending to them. 5% restriction or administration expenses applicable on the implementing agency? No, it is applicable only on the company. It is not applicable on the implementing agencies.
Those are compiled during the session. We have many more once we start taking. So do you want to take the data?
Yeah. How is the track record of 3-year? From which question I have to take up?
From this one, sir. I don't know
any
how many
checklist format available for. Okay, from this, how any checklist format available for CSR applicability? I will share my presentation with you that can help you as a checklist and everything. Next is how is the track record of the 3-year implementing agency be assessed? You have to ask the document from the such trust society and Section 8 company. They have to show their last 3-year returns and the documents whether they are doing these activities or not. Next question. If the implementing agency was starting, is there any chance in the matter of compulsion of profit 198 need to be sheet of computation? I will share the sheet of computation with everyone. I have shared my WhatsApp number. Please drop me a message. I will share with everyone. Employees training and expenditure allow the CSR expenditure? No. Anything for the employees shall not be considered as a CSR expenditure. Where a company supports the hospital directly and the hospital apart from serving general public also offer discount or free treatment to the company's employees and service, whether it's violation. If hospital is using that benefit for the outsider, then that can be considered as the CSR expenditure. But if it is using for the employees of the company, according to me, it should not be allowed. Can CSR be incurred commonly by group companies and be recovered from respective? And yes. As I said, company can do the CSR activity with the collaboration with the other company, so they can with the collaboration can spend on the CSR. In case the amount has been transferred to the special account, how about the interest earned? Any such special account? Whatever is the interest earned, that interest you also have to use on the such project, because we have already discussed the surplus is required to be used on the same project. You cannot take it as a profit of the company. Construction of the public road. Construction of the public road. Let me just check. According to me, it should not cover under the CSR activity. Still, I will just suggest you to please look at once the Schedule 7 also, but according to it is not allowed. Up to financial year 1920, starting financial 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, my net profit crossed the limit, but amount not spent. If you have not spent till 31st March 2020, there is no issue if you have given the disclosure in the director report. Should spend for CSR liability calculating up to 1922% in the 2020, or should the same be spent for 2021 for the period? Whatever is the 2% for the as per the financial of the 3-year on 2021, you have to spend. Borewell for drinking water definitely will be considered as a CSR expenditure. A company engaged manpower service provider who people is village through which there is the increased earning by the people will payment of the manpower service provided be treated. Manpower services provider who will be in village through which there is an increase. Accordingly, it will not consider as a CSR. In case of unspent amount as on 31st March 2021, shall I create a liability in the books of account and 31st March? What is the accounting? Yes, you have to create this liability. And about the accounting treatment, I will just like to say, ICSI recently have issued a guidance note on the same. You should refer that guidance note for the accounting treatment. Even if the 6 month is not over within 31st March, should the auditor consider the event occurring after balance sheet? If, as I said, if on the 31st March company has not spent, auditor definitely should give the provision in the financial statement. Can excess spending on the CSR during May 2020 by continuing PM left fund be carried forward? Yes, that can be carried forward because it is relating to the 2021. Trust should be registered in 12 ATG for 3 years. Even if trust was existing more than 3 years, but the failed to take ATG earlier has later on taken that, but 3 years is since. 3-year condition is for the activity. 3-year condition is not for the 12 ATG. Endowment is the meant for activity mentioned in the schedule 7 line of education purpose. If it is for the education purpose, definitely you can spend as a CSR expenditure for that. So I think we have taken up more than 80-90 questions, and throughout the session there are more than 1,000 professionals are there.
Yes, sir. Sir, how do you go about, sir? Chairman, sir?
Over, no? All the questions completed. Shilla?
Oh,
Yeah.
a marathon job done by you, Devesh.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for that. Chairman, shall I move on to proposal of thanks or?
Yes, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Yes.
Almost more than 80 questions we answered.
Yes.
80 to 90 questions.
So even at the end, almost 1,000 people are there. So hats off to your efforts, and the pace at which you presented and the clarity with which you presented is extraordinary. I was also sitting all through the presentation. This question answer model, like FAQs which you did, was excellent. Most of the queries should have been solved there. Otherwise, the question number would have been 150 or more. It has come down to around 80 after giving a clear presentation. Your in-depth knowledge in this is laudable, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you.
And we are very happy, and thank you very much. So I thank the delegates for their overwhelming support, and more than 1,500 had registered, 1,000 plus attended, almost 1,000 plus were throughout the session. Definitely it is an inspiration for us to go for new programs and more relevant programs on these areas. Thank you, Chairman, for this program, and also thank the SIRC for the office for the support, and also Mr. Selva for collating the queries and also giving the technical support. Thank you, one and all. And it is a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Good night.
Stay safe, stay healthy, sir. Devesh, sir.
Definitely, sir. Everyone should save.